conclusion of the meeting, President Tseng shared with me a copy of a letter sent by Ho Chi Minh to Harry Truman.
Ah, that letter. That letter has been talked about over and over for decades now. In fact, there were a few letters that Ho Chi Minh wrote to President Truman in 1945 and into 1946. And what many people have done is to look at those letters and to argue that there was some kind of lost opportunity there, an opportunity for the United States and for Ho Chi Minh and the people who backed him to reach some kind of agreement, and if they had done so, that all of the terrible and difficult things that came afterwards could have been avoided. And this is the kind of lost opportunity that people see out there. In actuality, it was a lot more complex than that. And the reason why people come to this conclusion about a lost opportunity is because they're simplifying that complexity. So let's take a look at what these complexities actually were. Okay, so first of all, when we hear that Ho Chi Minh mentioned that the United States had granted independence to the Philippines, we feel good about that. We think, yeah, America, that's the only colonial power out there that actually granted independence to its colony, and Ho Chi Minh recognized that. It's good all around. In actuality, yeah, on some levels that's true, but it was way more complex than that. And there were aspects about that that were not as nice as we think of today. First of all, there were economic reasons why the United States agreed to grant independence to the Philippines. Philippine sugar was outcompeting American sugar because it was cheaper to produce. So over the course of this 10-year period when the United States agreed to give independence to the Philippines, the tax on imported sugar from the Philippines went up each year to make it essentially too expensive for Americans to purchase, and so that they would therefore purchase American-made sugar. So there's an economic aspect to it. There's also kind of racial aspects to it as well, as in the 10-year period when the Philippines was to transition to independence, only a tiny number of Filipinos, 50 a year, were to be allowed to emigrate to the United States. And that was an effort to essentially exclude these non-white peoples from America. So yes, America granted independence, but it was a kind of bureaucratic, racist, kind of ugly transition, which interestingly is also, one might say, the same as the transition from the French colonial situation towards the state of Vietnam that was run by Bao Dai. That was also very bureaucratic. I don't know if anyone's actually studied kind of racial aspects about it, but I'm sure the French looked down on the Vietnamese involved in this process to some extent, and I'm sure we could find many of the same things. So yes, America granted independence to the Philippines, but the French also granted independence to the state of Vietnam as well. And these two processes are very similar and are much more gray than this idea that America was this beacon of progress, and Ho Chi Minh recognized this and reached out to the United States in this kind of altruistic sense of wanting to cooperate with this great nation.
That the Philippines no longer will return to that period of political and economic slavery, but will join with the other peoples of Greater East Asia in the hope that all the peoples of Greater East Asia will enjoy the common prosperity, the common blessings of life, the common traditions, and the common heritage of Asia, which has always been the cradle of human civilization. I thank you.